We're here, except for Mr. Martin. And JP had another commitment. So, but we have their comments. And with that being said, fire exits are out the door to the left is the closest, down the stairs, and to the right at the end of the hall. AED out there if we need it. Okay. If anybody has any electronic devices with them that would interrupt this meeting, please shut them off. I only allow one person to have it, and that's Mark Baylor, because he's got a quiet one. Okay. And he works stuff up on the county website. And, all the roll.
Steve Ross.
Here.
Dave Martin.
He's excused. No, you're.
Chris Slider.
Yep.
James Nesbitt.
Here.
Mark Fellerstein.
Here.
Steve Pittman.
Here. Okay. Good. Steve, you want to move over here, or do you feel okay over there by yourself? Good. You're okay. And the members of the board had a chance to look at the draft minutes from the June 6th meeting. And so, has there been any changes that need to be made to it?
Well, the second paragraph, approval for May 2nd. Maybe should we approve that first?
Well, we can do that. We never did get to that.
We never did it. We never did it. I'd like to make a motion, we approve the May 2nd meeting.
That's with the additions to and corrections of this meeting, because what we had on pay cut off, and we had to have it verified by the motion made by Mr. Ballerstein on that meeting. Okay, and that has been confirmed by at least two people on the board. So with that, we have a second. Steve Pittman, second.
Steve Ross.
Abstain.
Chris Slider.
Yes.
James Nesbitt.
Yes.
Mark Fellerstein.
Yes.
Steve Pittman.
Yes.
And then I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes for the June 6th meeting. Without questions and
Second.
I didn't hear the first, I'm sorry. Thank you. And both motions,
Sure.
and then Steve, okay, Steve Ross.
Yes.
Chris Slider.
Yes.
James Nesbitt.
Yes.
Mark Fellerstein.
Yes.
Steve Pittman.
Yes. Okay, first item on the agenda is we're continuing a public hearing that was tabled at the last meeting for next Vera Energy 1764 Walker Lake and Ontario Road. There was a lot of concerns about electric and magnetic fields and some other information. NextEra noted everything we talked about and actually came back with some information, did some benchmarking, and looked at what we had. And if there's anybody in the audience would like to see that response, Cheryl has made copies here. Please feel free to come up and get one. Okay. All the items pretty much have been addressed. I'd like to try to move forward with this. But we also had, is our third attempt, we've generated some special conditions that probably should be used in every instance of the solar facility when they're put in. A lot of them are gone without actually being a condition, okay? But as a result of some of the things that did not work, we came up with them. And they seem to be things that are not out of the ordinary. Am I correct? And
No.
you've seen that.
Yes. Yes, we've seen them in a lot of the kind of conditions of approval and things like that. Nothing out of the ordinary.
So in becoming a facility and good neighbor, this is kind of what we came down to. Is there some things you'd like to hit on real quick for the record for the electrical magnetic fields?
Just wanted to kind of confirm that, you know, a lot of talk was on the inverters and the, EMF from the inverters, and we did confirm there is some EMF from the inverters, no more than a standard household appliance would generate. If you're standing kind of right next to the inverter, obviously it's at its highest, so if you go 50 feet away, it's under one, there's no doubt. Kind of what they use or anything outside of that. It's very kind of low level with our engineers. But yeah, so we did confirm there's some EMF in the inverters, but it is as much as not, if not less, than the standard household appliance itself.
Besides, there's also some local requirements for the electrical generating facilities that have to be met for distances.
Correct.
And the types of poles and stuff that you see
Correct.
along the road edge and the feeder system and the retrieval system.
Correct.
Warrant that type of change in the design, whether it be straight up higher, we want to go with cables a certain distance.
Correct. So I did want to address that, and then also just wanted to address the opening to make sure that there is access to the back of the property. So we did confirm from the edge of the tree line to the fence there is, I think, 48 feet, there's minimum 40 feet. On the south side of the property to be able to access the back portion. And then also I know the neighbors to the north was concerned about having the access. And there's that existing opening on the north side of the property that they'll be able to access that part of the property as well. So those are kind of the two main things that I wanted to address.
Didn't your comment letter state that on the north side, in order to get the proper spacing for access to the farmland to the east, that some trees may need to come down?
Correct. So as of right now, there's access to the south. The tree line does come down pretty far on the north side.
Right.
So if need be, we could send in the trees to access the tree.
Okay. Well, I know that at our public hearing, there was some interest in accessing on the north side. I don't know what the advantage north and south has, but maybe not. No one can speak to that.
Okay, and then some of the conditions that we're trying to address that issue also.
Yeah. That was in there.
Okay, a little preface that we have for here, is there anybody from the audience, because this is a continuance of a public hearing, it's in existence, okay, and it was tabled, we need a motion to actually bring that out, open it back up, Keith, for comments?
I probably left it open.
Okay, that was just tabled. So, is there anybody in the audience who might have some questions, concerns? If so, please stand up, state your name. What concern? Well, if there's nothing from the audience, I'm going to go down through the ancillary members of the board. Keith, we made some good comments. We looked and had some discussion on some of the items. We're going to continue to. Do you have anything else you want to add?
I don't at this time. I would suggest to make a motion to close the public hearing.
I entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Mr. Bitter, second.
Steve Law,
Yes.
Chris Slider,
Yes.
James Nesbitt.
Yes.
Mark Valentine.
Yes.
Steve Hickman.
Yes.
Okay. The public hearing closed. We have some multi-items that we want to use as special conditions. And that'll be part of the approval process, final approval process. We did make the motion where we were lead agency, I believe, at the previous meeting. Okay, we've not received any net comments of negative nature from other insurance agencies that were notified. Okay, Cheryl, do you have any further concerns that might need to be discussed besides the
like, you know, you drive around and see some of these solar farms, you see, well, they're not one. And I pray and hope that you guys are, you know, what I mean, and do stand up for everything that you say, because the screening on some are horrible, articulating panels are twisted, like, I can't believe how many in a site, you know, so, I mean, you've done a great job of providing everything we've had so far, so, thank you.
Are you comfortable with all the conditions I put down?
Yes, from the last time that we talked, yeah, we would be comfortable.
You comfortable with the noise situation?
Yes. As far as the construction on it.
I just wanted to say you've done a nice job in answering questions. Appreciate it. So that's just what you did. I would like to say something else. The reason why there's so much, I don't know if going into a resistance or concerns, we don't know you. We haven't had any experience working with you through the project. But we hear things from other vendors, from other people who we think that aren't very reputable, very nice. And we hope that, based on your quick response to our concerns, that you stay to those concerns. And we can use this as a reference in the future, because it's done a nice job of keeping it from the neighbors of your town.
Yes.
I stumble with a 9 to 5 time to driving 5 minutes. I think, now, are you gonna have any subcontractors on the job?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I stumble, because you make an agreement here tonight. And these guys, labor is hard to get, and good labor is really hard to get. These guys come, they wanna give you 8 hours a day. A lot of jobs that wanna go 12 hours a day. Give you an example, just a couple of years ago, I had to oversee a water tower in the town of Pavilion. I had 2 guys from Arkansas, 2 guys from Texas, 1 guy from Georgia, and 1 guy from California. And that was the crew. And they want to work longer hours and stuff. Now, if you think you can pull it off, we did have problems over here on 18 Drake Road, because Medina sandstone and about 5 foot. They had a bobcat with a vibrator on it, driving piles up. You know, bring in some big stuff. You gotta give that shaft as much as it'll physically take. And because my problem is somebody calling at 8:30 in the morning and wanting our clerk to be over there because it started a half hour early. By the time she gets over there, it becomes just hearsay. We've got somebody on the phone calling and saying they started early. Your crew's, oh, well, we're right on time, and when that goes to court and nothing happens, you want to get tied up on a bunch of stuff. So if you're gonna be at 9 to 5, you gotta have somebody on the job site policing it. There's other things you can do as far as moving material, things like that. And which is kind of funny about that is you're in a farm town. You got some guy who'll be harvesting wheat all day, all night, 24/7. They don't mind that. Then we get the straw off. Then we got to fit that ground, and now we're blowing dust with it. This disc getting it ground with something. But I don't feel comfortable with that. And if we have any problems, the code enforcement officer is always right. And she has us all backing her up. Don't ever forget that.
And the 9 to 5 is for the post.
Yeah, we prove the post. Yeah.
Yeah, and we would explicitly put that in our scope of work for whoever we're hiring, make sure they're aware of that.
What's your time on material?
A long time.
A long time. So you're probably gonna be out there in the winter.
No, so well, yeah, the goal would be to start securing the material now to build whenever the winter clears. So we have everything cleared out.
All I'm thinking is windows
It's like
open.
40 weeks for
I'm thinking it's windows open, windows closed. You know, if everybody's house is closed up, it's not quite that. Okay, outside of that, I like some of the stuff you presented, I think you did well, and we'll keep an eye on it. And a lot of times, once you get the perimeter on something, and, you know, you have some kind of inserts or whatever you put in the fence and stuff, you're gonna have somewhat of a noise barrier right off the bat. Okay. But that's been a much bigger problem. You could put multiple things in there, put multiple drivers, and speed that up. What kind of snowmobile we're up? We pretty much drive them 24/7. Yeah.
We need to try that one.
I just, in that thought, I mean, I like the idea of having some sort of restriction on the noise, but to me, 9 to 5 is a little unreasonable. I think it should be 8 to 5. People do work, I mean, you have a noise ordinance, most municipalities. I mean, they ask somebody to wait till 9 o'clock to do work. I mean, that's what you just said about farmers. They're out there 24/7 when it's time, and they're running a tractor, they're chopping, they're doing whatever. I think to run a reasonable business, 8 to 5 would be more reasonable and more in line with, you know, a typical work day. That's me. I think 9 to 5 is a little too restrictive.
And I would
My
appreciate
opinion.
any flexibility, we'll make it work.
I would use that. Yeah. I think most kids are up and going to school by 8 o'clock. So.
I guess I would agree with that, with the warning. If we start getting complaints, someone will rediscuss that.
Yeah, but that's like saying somebody who's building a house, you can't go in and start working on your house till 9 o'clock to start putting a roof on or framing.
Nailer?
Yeah, come on, you know, to me, it's just common sense. If I've been a contractor my whole life, you told me I couldn't work at your house till 9 o'clock, I'm doing another job.
Yeah, right, you're right.
It's just the reality of it.
Just the powder. And in response to the.
8 to 5, I would say.
8 to 5 is good, yeah.
Give me an extra hour.
Yeah, 8 to 5 is very good.
Thank you.
And you will have a construction manager on site, so they would be able to specify one way or another whether or not the site starts.
Yeah, it'll be on site for all. For that.
Yeah. Do you want me to read in the special conditions?
We've had one we've talked about, and it seemed to be a constructive discussion on that, but, let's go down them. There was some, information shared with you by, some of the town engineer as well as, sorry. Okay, we might have to modify some of the language in this.
Yep.
But as part of the approval of the special permit, do we have a resolution that was with our packet on that?
No, there isn't. I mean, this is fairly straightforward.
Okay.
You're getting a final approval on the property split and presumably the special use permit.
Okay, so before we come up with some resolve, we should have a.
You want a resolution?
Okay.
Excuse me, Cheryl reminded me, we already did the property split.
I thought we did.
Yeah. So we're down to the special use.
The secret stuff is long.
Yeah.
So just so we're gonna approve it all, was discussed last time, okay, because we discussed the property split before. And we made the secret determination on it because that.
We did secret for everything.
Right. Yeah.
Then we did the property split, now we have to do the special.
Right. But I would like to do the resolution. So let's go down through these, conditions of approval that's gonna go along with your approval of the whole package.
So you want the motion and then just go through the
I think
conditions?
we ought to go through them all
Go through the
here
conditions
first, and if there's some additional discussion we should have internally, it should be out to everybody to just.
I'll just kind of read through it and everybody can chime in or have thoughts or whatever. So it must comply comply with the approved SWPP, not MP, for the construction of the system. Number two, Keith, you had suggested not include that, at least crossed off your email. I didn't see a replacement for it. Was it intended to be one, or?
I think that should be omitted because the building permit drives that. It has its own time on it.
Okay, but I think in the prior one, we had 12 months. He offered 6. We want to shorten this construction period as much as we can. So, maybe your permit will go to 6 months.
If you feel that strongly about it, sure.
Well, I think the public would like to have the nuisance part of it done in a shorter time.
If for some reason it needed to be renewed,
Or that's
Stranded did something right, yeah, you could be
It can only be
extended.
renewed for 6 months.
Well, yeah, answer that a year, right?
Okay.
Okay, that's a good reason, so we'll omit number 2, and, no part of the system shall exceed 12 feet in height, which is something we've been saying from day one, and you've agreed to it, so it's not an issue, but just throw it out there. There shall be a sign at the construction gate with the names and numbers to be contacted in case of emergency during construction phase. And then number 5 is essentially the same thing, other than during the operation phase.
There'd be a specific sign. Room size.
We don't want anything above a 2 paper.
No, we don't want anything else.
It needs to be a permanent sign, I don't know.
It's your nominal sign size.
You don't need to read it from the road.
They're usually 2 by 3.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the board right there.
Okay, 2 foot by 3 foot in size. And then, new one here, all landscaping shall be planted and maintained in a good and workmanlike manner consistent with the standards of landscaping professionals in Monroe County area. Now this is where I'm proposing a slight change to what you had, Keith. We say that rather than, that we would like to have a statement, prepared and submitted to us in March and August, indicating, any dead, diseased, or damaged identifying any dead, diseased, or damaged plantings. Said plantings shall be replaced immediately, with new plantings of the approved type and as close to the size of the then existing healthy plantings in the landscaping plan as is then available from landscape suppliers in Monroe County.
The reason for that is there's specific planting seasons that you need, go by that. I mean, if you try to replace something immediately, it may not grow again, so then you're.
You want to hit it the spring and fall, if you can. So that's okay. Good thing. Number 7, at all times, the permit holder shall post and maintain a performance bond or other suitable guarantee in a face amount of not less than 150% of the estimated cost, to ensure removal of the facility or structure in accordance with the decommissioning plan every 5 years. The face amount of said financial security shall be increased so as to maintain that 150% face amount consistent with the removal costs then in effect. Said face amount be approved by the town engineer. Said financial security be approved by the town attorney. Anybody has any comments as we're going through this? No.
I don't have the list you're reading off.
No, you don't.
No, I'm completely different.
Well, I've modified some to reflect heat temps
Oh, okay.
So we got several,
that came in project.
and JP has a couple, I remember 7 people.
Yeah, decommissioning has been removed and replaced by this longer.
Can I get a copy of it later?
You can have it now. With that. Provide notice that code enforcement officer when the system will be activated. Number 9, provide notice to the code enforcement officer when the system is out of service and a plan for placing it back into service. Provide notice to the code enforcement officer should there be a change in ownership or operating contracts for the system.
On this point that you said, I noticed, it should be, by a certain period of time.
Explain.
Well, you know, that, if I notice to the code enforcement officer on the system will be active as veteran, but when, within 30 days of activation, or within a week of activation, in a day.
Okay.
What's your experience for activation in times with your electric supplier? Or who
You mean once it's online and if it goes off?
Well, will they just tell you when they're gonna put you in their system, and do they give you notice? Or you open it up and receive it?
Yes, if it's already online, we're monitoring it 24/7. So if it goes offline, or when it goes back online, pretty much right away. So I mean, we'll get notified you. But if the best form of communication is email, letter, so we could probably have it.
It's the way I read that sentence, it's like, you come in and say, we're gonna finish up this week. We're gonna be done by Friday. You've notified her that you're gonna be completed, the project's gonna be completed, not whatever time you turn it on and off.
Well, number 8 is, when is it gonna be turned on and how it generated? Number 9 is, if it goes out, what it will tell us it went out, and what we plan is to put it back in. So there are two different things there. And as far as the timing, I don't think you got any suggestions. Because it depends on, we're gonna get down to, we want it in writing, we want an email, we want a phone call.
This is communication.
And we want it in 24 hours, we want it in 2 weeks. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I'm trying, there is not being interrupted, so there's no project today, but we can, hey, we're going to, in a week, we're going on a day. Whatever the time it is that you feel is comfortable, but there should be some, you should know that they, when they close up and ask, when did they activate? Well, we don't know, but they're gonna let us know a week before. I did see that a week before, it's an example, but.
Yeah, if it's through email, I'm comfortable with that.
All right, so we'll do it. And if it goes out of service, 48 hours.
Yeah.
Unless it gets hit by lightning or something like that. Well, they'll know.
Yeah, we'll
all know.
Yeah.
But in trying to let the clerk know, like if he activates, you might not know when it's gonna be activated.
Right.
We did the last one, we were responsible for all the electricity. Both faults.
It's not a plan out of service, it's just out of service. So a week, 2 days after it's out of service, she should be notified.
Right.
So we'll do that, and then I think 1 month prior notice for an ownership or a contract change. That should be fine, right? Okay, any other? I'm gonna go with 1 week prior, 2 days, and 1 month for those 3. No,
Just one question, Chief, when ownership changes, do we need any additional documents to make the special use permit hold, show any lease arrangements or anything else for the assessor or anybody?
The new owner takes over the old owner's obligation.
Okay.
And presumptively, information like contact information on the sign would have to be okay.
Right.
Okay. But aside from that, no.
All right. Well, that's a good note for the file. Thank you.
Could you make a continuance if we change ownership, they would come in and if they own, let's use it or no?
No. Or say no.
Special use permit over the property. Yeah. Okay, so far.
it's okay, no, it's good. Number 11, use a metal mix for honeybee support under the panels, just like we did on the, not we did, but it was done on the tray close system. Provide an estimated construction value before applying for the building permit. Provide detailed site cleanup procedures. Should a solar panel be broken during or after construction? This procedure should be submitted prior to receiving the building
much just noted that something was broken during construction or.
We want to have a specific procedure, because it was concerned by the public. What's going to be done when a panel's broken? What's the cleanup? I mean, you just push it back in the dirt, or you get out there and pick up all the
You have a
material?
hazard bag you use.
Yeah, what is the technique? It may not be, it must be an accepted standard to the.
There has to be, and any soil has to be removed, if there's any leakage, there's a bunch of teeth with them and stuff, but that should back into the training that you go on.
Provide usable access to the farmland to the east of the solar system. Remove portions of the hedgerow to provide clearance needed for farming equipment as needed. So I guess I'm saying there that if the farmers are okay with access on the south side, then we're good. If they feel the north side is drier and better, then we'll some trees that have to come down to get them up. But
I have a suggestion on that.
yeah,
For the cross out system and put a facility in there. I'll make sure this is part of the ground structure or something.
okay. I think I have the good system throughout.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just one bit of clarification on that, as far as timing, if there's any tree clearing needed before the building permit? Or,
I don't have a strong opinion on that. I don't think there's a timing issue. More of the, I can't remember the gentleman that was doing the farming here that was at our last public meeting, but,
Dean Brightman's son.
Drew Bright, you know, he's probably gonna try to continue doing that farming, so he'd be the guy to ask and find out if what you have planned is acceptable or if you really want to do something. It's pretty wet on the south side. The north side is a little drier, so you may want to take the trees down. Not a big deal for farmers to take trees down, as I recall.
You consider clearing and grubbing, Cheryl, as part of the demolition?
Will be included in the permit.
So I guess it would, you need to have that result before that. So the driving of foundation pilings shall be limited from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Other noise producing construction activity can occur from 7 to 7. That's all right, there we go. Hold a meeting with the local fire districts to review procedures before applying for a building permit. Arrange for the fire department's emergency access to the security gate. And then hold annual sessions with the local fire districts to review procedures and resolving issues.
We did become part of the annual training. The fire district should have anyways with the different facilities. Within our,
I was simply going to say, I think we're at the point where you can make a motion to approve special use permit subject to the conditions as stated on our.
That would be nice because I don't want to be repeating. I'd like to make a motion. Okay.
resolution.
Yep. Proposed resolution that we approve the special use permit for Next Era Energy Region Dollard at 1764 Walker Lake, Ontario Road. The application of DG New York CSB LLC owner Eugene Dollard seeking special use permit for Town Code Section 520-36B, Paragraph 1 for large scale solar energy system on parcel tax account number ID number 30.02-1-2 located at 1764 Walker Lake Road, Walker Lake, Ontario Road. This is in the RDL zone in the AG district. The following documents are submitted for review as requested. Electric and magnetic field information, public hearing follow-up as requested by the planning board. And we'd also like to make this approval include the special conditions that we just reviewed for a total of 17 special conditions. Second.
Steve Law,
Yes.
Chris Snyder,
Yes.
aye.
Yes.
You can,
Yes. Very good.
It's a long road, long road.
Get 1 year from today.
It's really like, yeah.
I saw it on live, I was up here on July 5th last year. So, at the end of the first time.
How's the little one doing?
It's fantastic. It's great. He was 6 months, last Friday.
What'd you name?
He's grown. He keeps growing out of all his outfits. I guess habit. Every like 2 weeks, like this house is gonna go tight.
And welcome to the world of sleepless nights. I'll get over
I've
it.
been in it for 6 months. Yeah. My wife is always jealous when I come here because I get a nice sleep. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
All right.
we'll
Thank
be
you.
in touch.
Okay. All right, next item on the agenda,
It appears there's not anyone here to represent the,
has there been any contact with these folks?
yeah, a private one. This is on the agenda for, August.
Okay, can we, for this one, that people aren't here tonight, so anybody, JP had, some concerns about placement and, elevation. And of course, the elevation set by CDOT, right, Cheryl?
The elevation for generators has to be minimum 6, maximum 12 inches above the ground.
Okay, so, and we have the ability to set it at an elevation that makes sense.
We just go by inches.
By what?
We go by inches. We don't do like an elevation, we do 6 to 12, whichever is appropriate for the application.
Okay, and the recommendation from the engineer was 250.
So that's the elevation for everything along the way.
Okay, well, yeah. There was that, and the other thing I wanted to share with you, they had some concern about noise barrier for generators. Is that a concern we have?
The generators will run when needed. They do, on a regular basis, I don't know if it's once a month or whatever. They do run and recharge, and that is quite loud. We can hear the one outside into the town board room.
Well, I heard my neighbors also, so, but I mean, I just wanted to,
No, it's more than one.
yeah, I know, same decibel. Yeah. But those were concerns,
Right.
and I don't know if you run across those.
They're not specifically in the LWRP, but,
They are in the LWRP.
for noise.
Not for noise, but I think noise would be still a concern because it's a town noise and the town code, but.
Okay, so it's in the town code,
Mhm.
and the houses are pretty close together right here, too.
Yeah. He brought it up to me today before the meeting about that also, and, JP commented maybe some kind of a fence barrier, I can suggest something to them to be in between the generator and the lot line, because we do have some room, we did not need variance, besides that,
There already is
I
a
would-
fence separating them, this chain link fence, separating them from the neighbors, whether they can put something up on that fence.
yeah, maybe even a flat would help, a flat that you put in a chain link
Well,
fence.
screening, I would say you should require screening because they are going, the closest place to 6548.
Mhm.
There should be nothing wrong with us saying you have to screen.
Yeah, well, it's nice to have a discussion, it also brings up the point, that probably at a workshop, we should probably look at our noise ordinance and working hours in our code, and then come to a conclusion where what's appropriate time-wise, and also for the additional screening and houses that have close quarters.
Do their neighbors have generators?
Sporadically, not neighbors, right?
And there's quite a few of them along the lake now.
Yeah.
There's quite a few, yeah.
I have a question. Can you schedule a cycle, like a maybe go east and north. Doesn't-
That's the first one.
Is it once a month or once a week?
I don't know, I think it's more like once a month,
Can you find out?
I can find out.
Once a month.
Once a
Okay.
month.
Your typical generator goes is once a month, okay, runs for an hour.
Either that or whenever there's a power outage.
It's more than an hour.
Yeah, right. Okay, because the remaining item on the agenda, the folks are here, been so patient, we're gonna move ahead to 307 Drake Road, that subdivision.
So is the root matter adjourned to next month? Is the root matter being adjourned to the August meeting? And so,
I suggest
You want a
that.
motion to do it?
yes,
Put it on the agenda for next month? Hang on a second.
Oh, that's fine.
We need a motion. Guys,
I'll make a motion that we, reschedule the Robert City Route, Conservation Corridor Development Permit application for 6544 Shore Acres Drive to next month's meeting on August 1st.
Second.
Phillips?
Steve Ross,
Yep.
Chris Snyder,
Yep.
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Mark Ellerstein,
Yes.
Steve Dickens.
Yes.
Thank you.
All righty.
All
Good
right.
evening.
Good evening. Happy fifth.
Yeah. I understand your father was in today.
I'm sorry?
I understand your dad was in today.
I believe he was, yeah. We crossed
See you on the line.
paths at about 5:30 when I picked this up.
Is he on the back?
He is actually. They put him on, like, he had that breathing issue there where they had the trach, and so they put him on some medications to help open that restriction up. So he doesn't sound quite like Darth Vader anymore. So that's good. So,
Okay, very good. Well, let's, our engineer isn't here tonight, but I know he shared a bunch of stuff to do through the course of the last month.
yeah,
Don't tell him that. Okay, so where are we at? Because we'd like to get this scheduled public meeting so we can get going with this thing. And, if you think we're ready, explain to us what we should look at.
Okay, so are we in for a final tonight?
Well, what we're gonna do is if the corrections have been made and everything makes sense, then we schedule a public hearing for final approval, preliminary and final, next month,
Oh, okay, we can do that.
if you're ready.
I guess I am. I wasn't aware that I was going to be making a presentation of sorts. His,
I'd ask JP, but he's not here, he's probably on vacation.
Right.
Like all of us should.
Okay, so, as you know, last month, I was kind of handed this at the last minute, just like I was today. So, I'm not entirely sure just where Jim left this, if earlier, if the formal presentation has been made on this earlier, or, whether we're going through a whole routine, or whether we're just going to address the issues that the county board of health and JP.
Yeah, JP's comments. Just JP's comments.
Okay, as far as I know, Jim has addressed every comment on it. I think he's addressed all the comments that JP had, that the county board of health had earlier, and also, all the comments that Greg Wise had, all 7 pages of. So, I believe everything has been addressed on it. I don't have a copy of JP's comments, so I can't point them out on this.
He had spoken to me,
Okay.
came into the office, and said that he'd like to see this hopefully move forward, and that all of his concerns during this process have been,
Well, you had a discussion about the plat that is shown downtown, would show that County Clerk filing, it does reach Sandy Creek.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with that being said, he said it was a conforming lot. And I would feel good that over the course of the next 30 days or so, or the remainder of the month, okay, any other concerns that might pop up could be taken care of and presented as necessary at next month's meeting, and public hearing be scheduled.
That works.
Why don't we just do it at this meeting? Why,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
did the same thing last meeting, and now we're here doing the same thing. We gotta come back for another month and say the same thing.
Because there
We
has to
addressed everything we needed to do.
be a public hearing.
Yeah, but it's right here, I thought it was final approval last month when we come up here, you said we'd have to come one more meeting, that should be it.
You still have to have a board decision. Okay. And I believe Cheryl spoke to you last one, that we'd have to make sure that everything has been taken
Yeah.
care of, and because JP isn't here tonight.
I know,
Okay,
that's.
I'm assuming that there has been no changes,
No,
okay? That your dad had been in because he'd like it to move forward. Okay. The drawings that we had up until last month's meeting did have a wet seal on it. You have wet seal drawings now. Okay. You gotta stand. You stay. And it's different than the one we had before.
Yeah, there were changes we made, based on what JP had, suggested.
I didn't see the updated revisions on any of the changes. The last revision was 325-22.
No, well, he kind of neglected that one, didn't he? I'm sorry.
Okay.
Made the changes, but yeah, I'll change that, and there's a couple other changes I'm looking at that are, not technical issues, they're just, you know.
No, they're not, it's just calling them out on the plat.
Yeah.
So that it can be filed.
Oh, no, what I'm saying is there are a couple issues here that I see working on this map where there are a couple of extraneous lines and stuff like that that also need to be cleaned up, so we envision anyways.
So, I mean, it's been a long process, I believe, for and everybody else, but just getting things together and getting all to a point where you would have had to gone through preliminary one night and final the next, and we're gonna, because it's a single lot, we're gonna do it all at once next month.
and it'll be final approval then next month,
Right.
or he can get his building permit,
Right.
and go.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's gonna be any neighbor issues, and Janine, we have no issues on the conservation work.
I don't believe so.
But I really don't think, we didn't really accomplish nothing tonight though, really.
Well, we confirmed that the comments that the engineer had have been addressed. And the big thing we're gonna do tonight is set the public hearing.
Public hearing and the correctness of the drawing. That's all. Everything has to be, I's dotted and T's crossed, and it is what it has to be. It's no different with anybody else, right?
No, I understand that, but.
So, I'd like to hear a motion that we could set a public hearing for this.
Make a motion for set the public hearing for August 1st for the permanent and final single lot subdivision for Rodney Mank, 307 Drake Road, application of Rodney Mank, owner Rodney and Linda Mank seeking permanent, preliminary, and final single lot subdivision at 307 Drake Road. A single dwelling is proposed, tax account 020.020-003-007.112. This is in the RM zoning district.
Second? Second. Roll the motion.
Steve Law,
Yes.
Chris Schleider,
Yes.
Wayne Smith.
Yes.
Mark Valentine.
Yes.
Steve Nichols.
Yes. And the good thing is, it'll be the first item on the agenda.
Yeah.
I know offense, the other guy is very nice, it's just like last
last month. I had a birthday party, you go to, and
It is what it is. Okay. Is there any, discussion we need from the town board or anything else?
No, just, we've appointed Kaylee Gilfillian to fill the recreation supervisor spot. We're taking bids on, Hamlin Sewer District One, formerly formed Hamlin Sewer District Two, Beechwood. And I anticipate next town board meeting, unless anybody here has got an objection, we'll advertise for a planning board position.
I know the question has come up, whether or not this board should be tied to seven members. Okay. The diversity of 7 members for someone in my position, as well as the crew that we have, is pretty important.
I feel the same way. That was a discussion I think the majority of the board feels.
I mean, I think there's a legal way you abolish board members. Okay.
What are you trying to say, Chris?
No, what I'm saying, anybody wants to abolish me, that's fine. I serve with pleasure. I like a 7-member board. Okay. No idea it should be kept to oneself. Okay. Whether or not we all agree, tonight was a really good, way to look at it. We had a discussion about a condition, and we all spoke our mind. Nobody felt bad. It's the deal. It's what it comes to in the end. And that's what it's like. So much easier with 7 members. And if you do have vacations, if you do have some other issues, or sickness, God forbid, it lends itself better to representing the community. So if anybody ever asks you, that's my opinion. I like a 7-member board.
I would share that opinion, and that's the opinion of the board. I anticipate next town board will vote to put it in the paper for, advertise for the position.
Janine, I haven't heard anything on the LWRP. So I don't know, Department of State sleeping or what?
Well, last time it took a couple of years, didn't it, when it was revised last time?
But I think they were questionable as to how we got to a point of so close to our feelings and put things together in a kind of fashion based on what we had. So
I think last I heard is that you might see them starting to review it this month.
I'm running into the same thing with the farmland protection plan.
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
They're talking October now. I mean, we've gotten our grant. I've been assured of that. But in order to get where we can actually move forward, it's going to be, he said October.
Well, just as an aside, tonight there was Charlie Mayer, former supervisor's wife, second wife, yesterday. And when we did the original one, we made a trip to Albany. Charlie snuck into his office at the Department of State, walked over to the person who was doing the review of the first LWRP in the state of New York, and it was down about 8 or 9 levels of the thing. We just walked up to the table. Well, kind of pulled it out, put it on the desk, because I want an answer, turned around and walked out. And at the end of the week, we had the answer.
Well, that's good, but from what I understand is half the people are still working from home since.
Yeah, I know.
They clearly are.
Yeah.
Sure, I know. I was just, it was a funny anecdote that I wanted to share. Okay, the way things used to be. Okay, Keith, you have anything to add?
No, not today, first of last month.
Motion to adjourn. Yeah.
I'll second it.
You in trouble. All in favor?
Aye.